everyone, Yensid Organist here, and welcome to another episode of OrgelCraft. I hope you guys are having a great day today. My death in the last episode made me realize that while those are fortunately a rarity thanks to not having any hostile mobs around in the overworld, my backup gear, not so great. Also, trading with my villagers reminds me that most of these have never been converted to zombies and back, and even some of the ones that I have up here, not the greatest examples. You guys are embarrassing me here. Yeah, like this one for Blast Protection 4 is still at 14, so definitely could be lowered. Now, long time ago, I made a thing to be able to convert the villagers and then bring them back so we can get the trades down, dropping them down into a chamber where they can theoretically be reached by a zombie. The only problem is that when I built this chamber here, they're built with half slabs on the bottom and half slabs on the top, which means this guy doesn't think he can go anywhere, so he's just stuck. So to start things off this episode, we are going to essentially bring our friend Dr. Facilier up here. We are going to get all of our villagers exposed so that they can be zombified, and then we are going to work on lowering our trade prices. I will likely never need this room again, so we should be good to just break everything out of there. I suspect he has a really strong sword, and I have no armor on. We'll see how this goes. Okay, come get me. Come get me. I'm over here. Very good. All right, now we're going up here. Yep. This way. Come along. Okay, now, I believe, I hope, that the rails will be enough to prevent him from getting to me. Because he shouldn't want to walk over them. Perfect. Okay, so now all I need to do is leave this room and let him go to work. Because once I leave, then he'll become interested in my villagers. And I'm going to pop my camera account on while that's happening, just so that I can make sure they all get zombified. Alright, progress is being made, but, yeah, this guy wants to go eat other villagers instead of coming up here. The tasty villager snack up here. Yeah. Okay, I'm out. And hopefully he will do what he's supposed to do now. Well, this took entirely too long, but all of the villagers here have been zombified, including a few extras. And where is our friend, Dr. Facilier? Yes, he's still trying to work on some of the other ones over there, and is coming for me now. You, my friend, let's see, do I have a boat? I do not. That's no good. All right, wait there. I'll be back. Oh, doctor. Okay, so now we can go about the process of healing all of these. However, I have no fermented spider eyes, so we'll have to get more spider eyes and make up some potions, but there's actually a better way to do this than splash potions, and for that, we'll need some dragon's breath. There we go. And right through before the Endermen come for me. Spider eyes. Brown mushrooms. I always forget that mushrooms grow on the nether roof. Sugarcane. Weakness potions. Splash weakness potions. Lingering potions. Tipped arrows. And don't use a good bow. And now we wait. All better. Trades much cheaper. How's my efficiency? Yeah, still a little worried about that one. Several more times around ought to bring those prices down. Our friend Dr. Facilier is back down there. all of the villagers have been worked down as low as they will go. Some of them will not drop their prices below a certain point. Like this one here, he would not drop below this 23. Fortunately, I have a cheaper Frostwalker trade, but there we go. Everybody is all labeled up with what they sell and what they trade. So black and highlighted sells both or trades both ink sacks and books. Brown trades just books, and actually, that reminds me, I think I had a couple up here that needed to be... Nope, I guess not. I thought I had one that traded books that didn't trade ink, but apparently that is not the case. Yeah, and then, so just black signs just trade ink sacks, and the blue signs trade nothing for emerald. So I went through and got a whole bunch of books stocked up, so we should be good to go there. Fix off the creeper explosion. And now let's go hunting for some netherite. Now that all of that is out of the way, it's time to actually get on to the project for the episode today. And I think that I want to get back to doing some work with houses. Now, I still haven't detailed the houses on the north side of the street here, so that's something we will need to do. I'm not feeling that at the moment, though. Where I actually want to begin for today is up here on Windmill Way that we started working on in the last episode, and just kind of starting to build out some of the houses here. Now, I think what we're going to do for these homes, I think we're going to make them a little bit simpler than the ones we have down in the town. I think they're only going to be one story, or maybe you'd be considered 1.5 stories, with like, an attic room or something like that. Whereas these, have 2 fully fleshed out stories and then probably a 3rd room on top. So I brought along a little bit of wood just to kind of mark things out. So let me see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. So we got 17 blocks there. So we can do 5, 4, 5. And I think we can skip 1. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 3, 4. And I think we might put a couple of these right up against one another. I'm going to use different woods for each house. Yeah, and then maybe... Yeah, I think this will be good. Actually, although saying that, I want them set back from the road a little bit. So I think this will be a good start here. A little bit of different places where they're going to go, and then they can come back different amounts. So this one, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we'll take that right up to the edge of the hill, and then that will come there. And then this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this one can come back same way, and then we'll just meet up down there. And then our last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one we might bring to there. And then this one I'm only going to have be 4 wide, just to give a little bit of variation with all of that. But then, unlike the houses down in town, which I think I did 4 blocks on the first story. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So these might be a little bit taller. So, and they're going to kind of vary. You know, just a little bit more haphazard, a little less uniform out here. So this one, obviously, I did the same height. But then this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, we could maybe bring that up a little bit taller than the one next to it. And then this one probably go back to the same height of the original. You know, but essentially something like that. And these houses, like I think I said, are going to be a little bit plainer, not nearly as detailed, probably a lot more with just the wood tones. Although I am going to mix in like the crimson and the warp, because these houses are still painted up here. This is going to be stripped birch, if that wasn't obvious in placing it down. But I think this is a good start, and then we'll just build our roofs up from there. I think it'll help with the scale of this area to have the houses be a little bit smaller. But I think it's going to look good. So I think I'm going to get started with these, and then we'll just kind of have to see what I feel like working on. It's bugging me that I have these 3 houses here in town that are not finished. And also, this past week, I started thinking about these areas out here on these, I don't know if it's called a wharf or something like that, but starting to think about, you know, terraforming over here and starting to build this in. We got a lot of houses still to build in this town. And, of course, this is only the first half of it, because we do have the other side of the harbor, but that's still a little ways off. So let me get to roughing these 3 houses out just to kind of get an idea for what we're working on here, and I'll bring you guys back when they are done. And here we have the first 3 houses on Windmill Way. I keep falling off the road here. But yeah, so we've got these nice little houses, got their roofs in, added a couple of chimneys on this one and this one over here. And I think it looks really nice doing the deep slate with the black stone. So yeah, just some simple houses. I realized I said this was 4. It was actually 5 before, but I wanted it to be 4, so changed it back so that it would be 4 wide. But went ahead and did all the detailing with it. I think that it's I think that I've learned it's easier to do the detailing when you do the houses as opposed to going back for it later, because yeah, I have not a ton of desire to do the detailing on those houses. So that's something that I will have to make myself do at some point. But yeah, very simple houses, very small. I think they look really, really nice here. And come in, there's nothing, I'm not doing interiors up here. I realized I have used these wooden walls down here in the town, and I've done it on top of stone brick, which works, but up here you have the grass, but if I were to take that out, then you'd have something that looks weird here. So it's a good thing we're not doing interiors, because that could be a problem. But nice views of the town and the harbor from here. This is still prime real estate in Arendelle, but I'm happy with how these have turned out. I always forget just how long it takes to actually make these houses. You know, even though I have a fairly standard design now, it still takes a while to figure out exactly how I want everything and get the colors all put together. But yeah, this was a good start. So I think that what I want to do next, because I'm trying to balance getting lots of stuff done in this episode with the actual amount of time that I have. So I think what I want to do is I want to start extending the road here. And so we're going to need to rip this out. But from here, this actually splits. And so the main road is going to go up to the right, and it goes uphill fairly sharply. And then there's another branch that kind of comes down in around here, loops around a little bit lower, probably ends up somewhere, probably about down here, and then kind of dead ends here, and then there are some houses on the hillside. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is figure out where I want this road to go, and then maybe outline where we're going to want a few more houses around here. I don't want this torch here. Okay, I'm going to get to work. So, a little bit more work done here, and this is the next little section of the road. So, coming past there, we're going to dip down just a little bit as it curves around, and then it'll kind of work its way back up. And then there will be houses that are kind of tucked down. They're actually set down a little ways below the road, and then there are houses in here as well. You can see with the warped planks there, kind of a rough outline of where one of the houses is going to go. And then it comes up here, makes a sharp right, and then starts looping up into the hill and goes right up to there. I know it's a little hard to see, but essentially comes to right here, and then is going to start looping back this way. This part of the road may be a little steep, so we'll kind of have to play with that as we go along, and I don't know how much we're going to get to as far as terraforming goes today. I do kind of want to start filling in this section, but we'll just have to see how far we get with all of this. And I also want to start marking out where houses are going to be. I'm not actually going to start building them in this episode, but I do want to get a rough idea, you know, as I'm creating the terrain, where I want all the different houses to go. I also made a discovery, and I've been trying to figure out, like, what exactly is going on here. There are houses that actually surround all of the area in the clock tower. So we have these two here, but then there's probably going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 more houses along there, just depending on what we have space for. I think where I have this marked off is pretty good, and we'll start terraforming the hill up from there. We'll have to figure, probably have kind of a fairly level area down here, and then start to build into the hill from there. But yeah, I think these paths are pretty good. I'm liking the way they feel when I look at them from a distance and from the air, and I'm really starting to get a good idea of how this hillside is going to shape up. And I'm also happy with how this road is in regards to where the wall is going to go. So this wall actually turns at this point and starts heading up into the mountain and comes fairly close. I'm not sure how much farther I have to go on this road before it starts turning and going up, but I feel like we're doing pretty good here. And then I'm hoping to be able to use some of the mountains that's here, but we will just have to see. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to work in a little bit of terraforming here, probably come from the edge of the lower part of the village up to this area here, and then start filling in some of this and just kind of see how far I get. So I'll bring you guys back in a little bit. Oh good, there appears to be a standoff on the road. Fortunately, we don't need to go up there. I wonder how many others of them are around. So I've done a little bit of work. Oh, there's 3 of them up there. Wonderful. I have done a little bit of work here, just kind of some of the basics. And I also came over here and plotted out where I want a few of these houses on the hillside, because that's going to be really important for making sure we build the hill properly. So I marked these out, and obviously we have the road here, and then we just kind of need to work in around there, and we'll deal with paths later. I also got to start down here with the Wandering Trader. Just kind of outlined where we want the town paved area to end and the hill to start, and got a little bit going with that. And I have this little bit done right here. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. I am just about out of time for doing this video. I had plenty of time when I started this week, but I got into a recording project for my main channel, first one in months, woohoo, and that ended up eating up a lot of my time this weekend to record. So what we are actually going to do here to finish things off is I thought we would do a little bit of the terraforming here on camera, Am I doing it to fill out time in the video? No, absolutely not. I'm doing it because I think it would be instructional. You believe me, right? So, I just kind of wanted to walk through a little bit of the process of how I do that. I know I showed the wireframe before, but let's do a little of this together. And this is going to be a little bit of an interesting one because we have a little bit of a curve here. So I think for this, let's go up here a few blocks. This is probably a good height here. So let's go from here. And then essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace a line over to this hill that we've already finished and just kind of get a little bit of an idea. And this is totally random in how I'm doing this. And how I like to do this is to never go... you don't want any right angles, essentially. And what I mean by that is you don't want anything that looks like that. I think it looks a lot more natural when you have a little bit of a diagonal there. And then you just kind of freeform from what you have. And if you do your wireframing, you'll get kind of the same thing. Okay? So this is kind of the base level that we have here, and part of the reason I went about this high is because I want a more gentle slope to here, and then I want it to be a little bit steeper up in here, and I'm not quite sure how that's going to play out, but we'll kind of work through it as we go. So with that being done, we can do a couple of different things. One, we can just jump right into it, or two, we can actually work up a couple more wireframes just to give us an idea. So let's actually do that. So let's maybe come back here. And the same thing applies to the vertical that does to the horizontal we just did, which is you want to try to avoid those sharp right angles. So I think we'll do this. And then because we're on a curve, let's actually come here. Let's come here. And let's build up from here. It's a little bit easier if you break these corners into diagonals, and then you have some straighter sections to work with. What I try to do when I'm doing this as well is to make sure that this line that I put here is the line that I come up with. Now, from this point, we can really just begin filling in. And you kind of just go by your discretion of what feels right. You know, you work things in, and then as you go, you can start building things in. So like I know already right here, I'm going to want that to come back a little bit. And then we'll have some of this here. And as it comes around, the angle is not going to be nearly as steep as we initially had, and it's kind of rounding off from here. And I think I'm going to pull this corner out. And then we'll just have to see about that. I think I'm going to pop that out there. And then we'll have to see how this fills in. But let's work that next. Now, when you're working an area that is on the diagonal, I find that it really helps to just kind of work back and forth in layers, and then use your wireframe that you did as a little bit of a guide. So what I'm going to do is this, and then I'll kind of make some changes as I go. But I found that this is a really good way to work through this. And we'll bring this out here. And this is a nice small diagonal, so it's pretty easy to work with. But this is essentially what I did when I was building up all of the stone around the reef. So I'm going to take this out. And I think I'm going to take this out as well, because again, it's those 2-block 90-degree corners. And then I think over here, let's bring this back one. And that'll give that a little bit more depth. So this looks pretty good. This area feels a little hollow, so I might bump that up just a little bit there. And yeah, I think this feels pretty good. It has a nice curve to it. The slope is fairly uniform. And then we can come over here and fill the rest of this in. And I think we'll do that and then bring it out here. And then maybe let's bring it back a block. And then we can fill all of this in. Like that. And then I think this is a small enough area that we can just kind of work back and forth. It really, is a matter of preference and what you feel like doing with it. But I think this is going to be a little too flat, so let's fill it in. And this is where it starts to get a little bit steeper. So we'll have some places where we have, a 2 or 3 block change in elevation. Okay, so now we have a very flat wall here, so I'm going to do a little bit of that just to kind of bring it out some. And I think we'll do that, and we'll put that there, and probably a couple there as well. And then let's trim this corner off a little bit. And I think let's do the same over here. All right, so how does that look? Looks okay. I feel like this corner's a little sharp, so we can ease that off a bit. And then I'm probably going to want that to be adjusted just a little bit. And let's do that and that. And how does that look? Take that out. I'm not a fan of having 1 block areas, so what I might do is bring this out a little bit, and that just gives a little bit of a different shape. I think I might bring this all the way down. Yeah, and then I have a lot of a straight line here, so we'll probably bring this out a little bit. And that looks better. Yeah, and again, I've got a little bit of a straight line there, and now I have it up here. Terraforming can be a very finicky process, and it all depends on how much you want to get out of it, and it also kind of depends on where you're going to be looking at it from. Most of this is going to be seen from a distance. When it grasses over, you're not going to be as concerned about the individual placement of every block. So with this part done, we're now going to move on to the next section. And before I get to this, so we have this road coming down slightly here, and I have a gap where I have left off. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm working on these is to kind of give myself a little bit of an outline at the top and the bottom. And I think that just helps kind of define where you're going by having a little bit that you can work with. I think I'm going to take that off and bring that down to this level. But now I don't have quite so sharp a line at the top, and it'll be a little bit easier to work around. So then here, especially on this side, this is where I start to get a lot sharper. On this side, I still taper off. So I think what we're going to do is, let's do another line across. I'm trying to get up here. It is possible, look at that. Okay, so we have a decent amount of change in elevation. Let's go to this block. And then let's go ahead and do a little bit here to kind of define this. So I think what we're going to do is have it come this way a little bit so we can have a nice sharp angle there in terms of vertical. And then we'll start to curve out this way. And I think what that will do is it will help kind of transition from the fact that we have more of a gentle grade here, and then it's a little bit steeper over here. And then I think for right here, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a wireframe just to kind of get an idea. Yeah, and so, okay, so now that I've done this, this is way too shallow at the top. I don't want this hill coming off quite this far, so we're going to pull a couple blocks back. And let's see, this was a 2-block, right? Yeah. So I think we'll pull this back, because this isn't quite as steep here. Yeah, that's almost a direct diagonal. So I think that looks pretty good. And then I think the rest of this will go below. So I'm going to outline this. And then I think we'll go there. And we'll just leave it off. And I kind of get distracted. A lot of this comes from working underwater, and working underwater, it's easy to go back and forth. But let's go ahead and fill this section in, and I think we will go side to side. We might be able to do a little bit of both as we work along here. And I think I'm mostly going to just keep following the line and fill in as we go. Alright, so there's that, and then we'll follow along with the next level, which might be too flat, but we'll take a look at it once it's all filled in. And then this I'm going to do like that, and I'm probably going to take this corner off. And then let's fill this in, and I think let's maybe bring some of this back just a bit. Soften that angle a little bit. I feel like that feels pretty good. I think I might want to take that off. And then we'll do that. Okay. So then let's finish off this section here. And we'll do that. Right like that. And then we'll just bring all of this down, and I'm going to adjust it in a minute to smooth the hillside out. I need to get up there, though. There's that. And that. And then let's draw this out just a little bit. I feel like that looks pretty good. And then we just have the last little bit to fill in here. And let's trade that for that. And let's shave this corner off. Like that. Now, it's a little flatter up here than I had initially intended, but I think it's going to be okay. So, let's fly on up to the clock tower. And I think that looks pretty good. I don't like that I have the two pillars here that are exactly the same height, so I'll probably take this one on our right down. I have pillagers over there. I have pillagers over there. I have pillagers everywhere. Yeah, but I think other than this and maybe that corner right there, I think we are pretty much good to go. Now the question is, can I find that? Yes, it was this block. So I think I'm going to pull that down to there. And then the other one was over here. Oh, where was it? Was it here? It might have been here. I don't think that was it, though. I'll know it when I see it from up here. There it is. This corner. Right there. One more flyaway. Yeah, there we go. And there we have a hillside with a gap. Let's fix that. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Got it. Okay. So there we go. So that is kind of my process for terraforming. And this really works for just about anything. You know, whether you're doing something that has a fairly low grade to it, you know, it's not a very steep slope, or something that is, you know, a lot taller like a mountain. This is a great way to approach it, and it also makes it much more manageable when you break it down into sections. You know, if you think about, like, you know, some of the mountains they're building on Hermitcraft right now, you know, those things look massive, and, you know, and you might look at that and go, how on earth, you know, could somebody ever do this? And really, it's just a matter of breaking it down into small parts that are easy to manage. Obviously, you saw, we worked through this pretty quickly here, you know, probably only about 10-15 minutes to do this section of a hill. And this is a significant portion of this hill that we filled in. So it's definitely doable, and if you've never done any large-scale terraforming, I highly recommend it. I have a lot of fun doing this. It's a little time-consuming. It can get a little tedious after a while, but it's a lot of fun, and I think is a really great way to enhance your Minecraft world. Guys, I think that is going to do it for this episode. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to give it a like and share it with your friends. If you haven't already, I would encourage you to subscribe, and make sure you click that little notification bell so you can stay up to date on all my latest posts. Be sure to follow me on social media. Thanks for watching. See you real soon.